We live in the most advanced time in history. We have more information in our pockets than ancient libraries held. We have tools that do in seconds what used to take years. We are connected everyone, everywhere, all the time. So why do we feel so lost? Why is there so much anxiety, confusion, and quiet desperation? Why does life, with all its comforts, feel so heavy? It is because we have ignored the oldest maps while chasing the newest stars. 2,000 years ago, a group of men sat in stone rooms, walked in dusty sandals, and thought with a clarity that cuts through our modern noise like a laser. They had no internet, no stock market, no cars, but they had the human heart, and they studied it like scientists. They discovered laws for living, not laws of physics, but laws of the soul. Laws for peace, for strength, for a good life. We have buried these laws under a mountain of new advice, self-help fads, productivity hacks, get-rich-quick schemes. The ancient philosophers knew something simpler, deeper, and more true. This is what they knew, and this is what we ignore. Lesson 1. The cracked cup is what holds water. The wisdom of wabi-sabi and stoicism. What they knew, perfection is not only impossible, it is the enemy of peace. The Japanese concept of wabi-sabi finds beauty in the imperfect, the weathered, the cracked. The Stoics of Rome taught that fighting against the natural flow of life, against aging, against loss, against things not going to plan, is the source of all suffering. What we ignore, we chase a Photoshop life, the perfect body, the perfect career path, the perfect relationship with no arguments. We see a crack in our plans, a flaw in our character, a wrinkle on our face, and we see failure. We spend our lives trying to be a pristine, unused cup sitting on a shelf. We are terrified of being the cracked, weathered cup that has been used, that has a story. The cost of ignoring it, we live in a state of constant low-grade shame. We are exhausted from the performance. We reject the beautiful, real, and flawed things in our lives and in ourselves in pursuit of a fantasy that doesn't exist. We miss the beauty of our own story because we're too busy editing it. What if we listened? We would embrace the crack. The failed project becomes a lesson, not a tombstone. The argument with a partner becomes a chance to deepen understanding, not a sign of a broken relationship. The aging body becomes a record of a life lived, not a betrayal. We would stop trying to be a perfect product and start living as a perfectly imperfect human. The cracked cup is the one that holds water. The weathered wood is the one with character. Your flaws are not your enemies, they are proof you have been in the game. Lesson 2. Your mind is a garden. What you plant grows. The wisdom of Buddha and Marcus Aurelius. What they knew, your thoughts are not harmless clouds passing by, they are seeds. Every thought of fear, of lack, of anger, of jealousy, it is a seed you plant in the soil of your mind, and it will grow. Buddha called this karma. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. They knew you become what you feed your mind. What we ignore, we treat our minds like a dump. We scroll through endless bad news, we binge on gossip and outrage, we entertain jealous fantasies and replay old arguments. We say, it's just entertainment, or I'm just venting. We ignore the fact that we are planting a forest of toxic weeds in our own mental garden, and then wonder why we feel so dark, anxious, and angry all the time. The cost of ignoring it, we become prisoners of our own worst thoughts. We manifest the very things we fear because our energy is focused on them. We see a world that is hostile and scary because that is the only seed we've planted. We lose our peace, our optimism, and our ability to see good. What if we listened? We would become ruthless gardeners of our own minds. We would pull the weeds of complaint, gossip, and fear the moment they sprout. We would consciously plant seeds of gratitude, of compassion, of possibility. We would guard what we read, watch, and listen to as if our peace depends on it, because it does. You cannot grow roses in a mind planted with thorns. Lesson 3. The obstacle is the way. The wisdom of the Stoics. What they knew, an obstacle is not a block. It is the path. The Stoics had a phrase, amor fati, the love of fate. It means to not just accept what happens, but to embrace it, to see every problem, every setback, every difficult person as the very fuel and direction for your growth. The brick wall you hit isn't there to stop you, it's there to make you find a door, build a ladder, or become strong enough to break through. What we ignore, we see every obstacle as a sign we're on the wrong path. A failed deal means we should quit, a criticism means we're not good enough. A difficult person means we should avoid them. We pray for an easy life, we see friction as failure. So we choose the wide, smooth road that leads nowhere and avoid the rocky, steep path that leads to the summit. The cost of ignoring it, we become weak, our resilience muscle atrophies. We never discover our true capacity because we quit at the first sign of resistance. We live small, safe, and unfulfilled lives, constantly running from the very challenges that would have made us great. What if we listened? The next time you hit a wall, you wouldn't sit down and cry. You'd get up and say, this is the way. The difficult coworker becomes your patience trainer. The financial setback becomes your creativity coach. The illness becomes your teacher of what truly matters. You stop fighting your life and start working with it. The obstacle is no longer your enemy. It is your guide. Lesson 4. You are rich according to what you can do without. The wisdom of Diogenes and Seneca. What they knew, true freedom is not measured by what you have, but by what you can walk away from. Diogenes, who lived in a barrel, owned nothing and feared no man. He was freer than the king. Seneca, a wealthy advisor, wrote that the richest man is the one who is content with little. They understood that desire is a chain. Each possession, each dependency, each need for external validation is a link in that chain. What we ignore, we believe more is better. More money, more stuff, more likes, more status. We spend our lives adding links to our chains, calling it success. We become slaves to our possessions, to maintain them, to our image, to protect it, and to our lifestyles, to afford them. We think we are acquiring freedom, but we are building a very comfortable prison. The cost of ignoring it, we live with a quiet panic, the fear of losing what we have. We work jobs we hate to buy things we don't need to impress people we don't like. We are constantly anxious, busy, and drained, protecting a pile of things that ultimately owns us. What if we listened? We would practice subtraction, not addition. We would ask, what can I remove? What clutter, what subscription, what toxic commitment, what unnecessary desire can I let go of? Each thing you can do without is a chain link broken. You would find that your power and peace grow as your attachments shrink. The man who needs nothing he cannot carry in his own heart is the most powerful man in the world. Lesson 5. Silence is the answer to most problems. The wisdom of Lao Tzu and the Buddha. What they knew, in the silence you hear the truth, in the reaction you hear the ego. Lao Tzu taught that we should be still and let the mud settle, so the water can become clear. The Buddha taught right speech, that if your words are not true, helpful, kind, and timely, you should hold them in noble silence. They knew that the rush to speak, to defend, to react, is where most trouble is born. What we ignore, we worship the quick reply, the cutting comeback, the instant opinion. We fill every quiet space with noise, with music, podcasts, and our own chatter. In an argument, we must have the last word. On social media, we must post our hot take. We are terrified of silence, both outside and inside ourselves. The cost of ignoring it, we speak wounds we cannot take back. We make decisions from reactive emotion, not calm wisdom. We never hear our own intuition because we're always listening to outside noise. We create conflicts and misunderstandings that a moment of silence could have prevented. What if we listened? Before you speak in anger, you would take one long, silent breath. Before you buy something, you would sit in silence for a day. Before you decide your life is wrong, you would spend a quiet morning alone, letting the mud settle. You would discover that 90% of what you were going to say didn't need to be said. And in the quiet space you create, the real answers clear, calm, and true would quietly appear. Conclusion, the timeless update. The philosophers aren't asking you to wear a toga or live in a barrel. They are giving you an operating system update for your soul. It's version 2.0, but it's been tested for 2,000 years. It's an update that replaces the bug of perfection with the feature of peace. It swaps the virus of endless wanting for the program of true freedom. It changes your internal narrative from "why is this happening to me?" to "this is happening for me." We have ignored this update, trying to run modern life on the shaky, glitchy software of ego and fear. It's time to install the ancient wisdom. To love the crack in your cup. To plant a better seed in your garden. To see the obstacle as your path. To find richness in needing less. To let silence answer for you. The truths are not complicated. They are just profound. And they have been waiting for you to listen, not in a stone room in Athens, but right here, in the middle of your beautiful, messy modern life. Press update.